By the time of this recording, I have 3,250 subs, and as always, whenever I reach to 1K, 2K, or 3K like I did several months ago, I would always do a Q&A, and this time I'm going to be answering 5 questions from the people who gave me questions over the past few weeks. Granted, I'm not sure if I'm going to do another Q&A once I reach to 4K in the future, but at the moment, this is a lot more bigger in comparison to the last. So, here is my third Q&A. The first person is Michael McJunkin. The first question is, what are some anime series you enjoy? I really do not enjoy modern anime series, mainly the fact that it's just mostly difficult to get into them in comparison to cartoons. Like, the ones that I go back to briefly are Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and sometimes Sonic X. I used to watch one of the Sailor Moon movies, but I wasn't really into those as time went by, and thinking about those material just sums up that I just can't get into every single anime. But when it comes to Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And maybe Sonic X, those are mostly the closest, but for me personally, I'm just not really much of an anime fan that I was into in my earlier years on YouTube. Question number 2. What inspired you to write the We Bare Bears fanfic Wish Upon a Christmas Star? Well, after doing my first We Bare Bears story, The Truth or Never Again, I want to do another, but it centers around Christmas, and it's honestly difficult to make the grown bears to be the main characters of a Christmas story. So with a twist of inspiration, with getting inspiration from Tom Hanks's Big in reverse, along with Jingle All the Way's parade scene, I literally came up with the ideals of the main characters turn into cubs, all the while they go through the mall with experiences when it comes to their wishes. When it comes to the chapters 3 through 8, I really didn't have much to thought about when it comes to taking inspiration, aside from the inspiration from the show itself. But I can guarantee you that chapter 9, which was Christmas Parade, was way more difficult, knowing full well that it's the longest chapter in the entire series, in the entire fanfic. There was so much going on, and there was inspiration of the kids getting picked by having the bear, which is the same thing as Arnold Schwarzenegger's actor's son getting Turbo Man. All the while there was an action sequence or some sorts going on. Believe me, I really enjoyed doing that fanfic, and when it comes to the last 3 fanfics, it's supposed to be Winston McCall when it comes to the 11th chapter, and the final chapter was honestly a good way to wrap everything up. I really wanted it to make the story much more longer when it comes to adding more chapters involving Grizz, Pandas, and Ice Bear's story, but at the same time, I was really at a time limit when I was making this fanfic over the course of 2021, just months before Christmas, because believe me, it wasn't easy. And if you look at my fanfic reading, I made a typo mistake of adding the same music description, even though that I played different music in the background. Believe me, it was a pain to put everything together, but at least it was worth it by the end. And when I was done with the fanfic along with the Valentine's Day story, I was extremely burned out. When it comes to the third question, what are 5 favorite Nicktoons of yours? Lincoln, Luna, Jimmy Neutron, maybe Sandy Cheeks, because I really do not like the majority of SpongeBob characters like I used to, and maybe Chucky from Rugrats, mainly from the second movie. I used to enjoy Nicktoons like many, but at the same time, I'm not really that much of a fan of Fairy Odd Parents. I tried to get into Dan and Phantom, but it just wasn't enough. I didn't watch Avatar: The Last Airbender, and my life as a teenage robot just is mostly on and off for me, which which is mostly from the first season. I didn't have the interest to enjoy the other 2 seasons. Question number 4. What are your favorite live action shows? Disney Channel, That's So Raven, The Sweet Life of Saga Cody, Hannah Montana. That's literally all I can think of. I tried to watch the newer shows, but it just didn't get me invested that much in comparison to the shows that I mentioned. Nickelodeon, Drake and Josh, iCarly, and Victorious. And sometimes I binge watch Henry Danger, but I don't, even though I'm at season 5. So those are literally the live action shows that I watch the most. Question number 5. Pancakes or waffles? Definitely pancakes. Pancakes can easily beat waffles anytime. Nana the Tigress asked, can you please return to doing Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends reviews? Despite doing the one that I've just uploaded this month, it's just difficult to get into more of the episodes, even though that there are some possibilities involving the episodes themselves. Like, I could do one more by the end of this year, but at the same time, I'm just not invested. And if you saw how I feel towards the end of my recent Foster's review, then you pretty much understand that it's just difficult for me to be invested into one show that can instantly drain me a little. Question number 2. How do you feel about doing a Cartoon Network month? Doing reviews on episodes from Cartoon Network shows? Honestly, it's a really good idea. I would consider on doing a Cartoon Network month of reviewing multiple Cartoon Network shows. But at the same time, doing one show could be a major highlight of showcasing on what the show's qualities are, and mostly of what people mostly enjoy from the shows that they enjoy in the recent times. Like, considering that I'm gonna be doing Steven Universe Marathon this summer after completing it almost 2 months ago, I'm pretty sure that doing the month dedicated to Cartoon Network will work promisely, but at the same time, it's mostly gonna be me reviewing the episodes way earlier in Cartoon Network's years up until the recent, because even if there may be enough shows to fill up a month itself when it comes to 30 days, I'm just not really in the ideal of reviewing nearly the episodes from cartoons that I don't enjoy the most. Like, I can try to pick the best ones, but at the same time, I wouldn't be able to review those shows afterwards, which will probably have their own time to shine on my YouTube channels when it comes to Cartoon Network month, if I actually do it. Question number 3. Can you please return to your top 10 worst videos, like your Fairy Parents one and your SpongeBob one? Usually, I really wanted to do it, especially since I've been reconsidering on doing other projects similar to that, even if it's not worst episodes, but it takes a long time. Like, it's basically 10 reviews into one, which usually my top 10s or top 5s videos are much more longer than necessary, and for me personally, it's just mostly difficult to process of what I actually would want to do by doing a top worst episodes of a cartoon. Like, when I did the Fosters one, when I did the Fairy Odd Parents one, it was one thing because it was something that I had passion about, but now I don't think I'm gonna be able to do that. The SpongeBob one back in 2017, early 2017 to be exact, was mainly something that I wanted to do because people have been doing that when it comes to SpongeBob top 10s being mostly popular back in the day. Question number 4. Are you going to do a Cartoon Crisis month again? Aside from Cartoon Crisis 3 being on hiatus and multiple videos are going to be uploaded in June before Summer Palooza 5 arrives, I don't think I'm going to be doing another Cartoon Crisis month again like I did in 2017 and 2020 back in November. Usually I would try to think of bad episodes to review, but at the same time, I just really feel like doing a month dedicated to it just isn't something I would do in my time like I used to. It just really feels like if I focus on other things by giving them no chance of making a video, it's honestly for the best. Question number 5. Are you going to do a Summer Palooza month again? I am going to do Summer Palooza 5, but if you're going to talk about Summer Paloozas 2 and 3, then no. Believe me, go watch my Summer Palooza vibes video, which explains everything onto why I don't think I'm going to be able to do a month dedicated to reviewing cartoons while being Summer Palooza related. The next person is the master of comments and research. How do you feel about the Irish Folklore Trilogy turning 15 this year? I never watched it, and I'm not really interested in it. I'm sorry. Question number 2. How about SpongeBob SquarePants and QnA turning 25? Honestly impressive. The fact that these two cartoons are turning 25 is really great on the fact of how far we've come. I would prefer QnA more than SpongeBob, considering that I can easily go back to this show more than SpongeBob, but that's a different topic entirely. Do you know about the fast of Beyond the Spider-Verse? I didn't watch the movie, I'm sorry, but even for someone who actually watched the first movie, it's difficult to be in the lore of Spider-Man, especially the Marvel Studios films that I kept on hold for almost 2 years. Question number 4. Any movies in theaters you plan to watch this year? Inside Out 2 and Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Question number 5. What's your favorite Pokemon? Kyogre from the 3rd generation. Believe me, I enjoyed the 3rd generation. I do enjoy Kyogre the most. He has the best Pokemon design, along with the other Pokemon designs from Generation 3 than any other generation, at least for my opinion. Thomas Meteor Corner 2001. Thoughts on Lunatics Unleashed? Barely watched it, sorry. Thoughts on the Mario Kart games and how would you rank them? Honestly, I didn't play all the games, just Mario Kart DS, which I played less. I played Mario Kart Wii, which was my first Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS, and Mario Kart 8, just 8 on the Wii U. So I would rank Mario Kart Wii as the number 1 Mario Kart game that I played. Favorite underrated movies: Robots from Blue Sky, Megamind from DreamWorks, which I did watch recently. It's a really good film. And when it comes to Pixar, I'm going to say Inside Out. I'm really preferring Inside Out a lot more, and when it comes to the sequel coming out later this year, or the next 2 months. Least favorite movies of 2023. Wait, sorry. Favorite movies of 2023. The Super Mario Brothers movie that I've watched, but at the same time, I barely watched a lot of movies in theaters, so I guess it's just the Super Mario Bros. Movie by default, I guess. Number 5, least favorite movies of 2023. The only movie that I watched was the Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny movie, but I don't hate it as much as other people. I'm just saying. Zesty Bomb, what are your thoughts on the Pikmin games and how will you rank them? I didn't play Pikmin 1 or 3, but I did play Pikmin 2, and I'm slowly playing Pikmin 4, so I would say that Pikmin 2 is better because it was a lot more unique, and when it comes to Pikmin 4, I tried to get into I really tried to play through the game on what it's like when it comes to different gimmicks, and with it being the recent Nintendo Switch game as of late, well, not really as of late, but currently, but so far Pikmin 2 is the best Pikmin game in my book. Question number 2. What is your favorite video game console? Oh, this is gonna be tricky. Even if I didn't play multiple video game systems, I would say that the Nintendo Wii and maybe the Nintendo Switch. I used to play Nintendo 3DS, but since it's mostly broken and it's mostly impossible to play the games that I have for it, I would say that the Nintendo Switch and the Wii U are the ones that are my favorites currently. And the Nintendo 64, when it comes to classic consoles, is mostly close, but at the same time, I don't really have a lot of great N64 games, unlike other people. Do you watch anime? I've established that early on when it comes to Michael's questions. Question number 4. What are your thoughts on the Super Mario Bros. Movie 2023? It's decent. To tell you the truth, I was honestly looking forward to seeing how the movie would held up after the success of the Sonic movies, and I have to admit, it's Illumination's best film, and I can instantly say that I would have sit through this movie than the other Illuminations movies, because I'm not really much of a fan of Illumination. Number 5, what is your favorite game and animated movie of 2023? I guess Pikmin 4, which is the closest that I played involving 2023, and the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Nothing else to say. The movie and cartoon fan, what are some adult cartoons you enjoy? I tried to watch Invincible for the newest season, but I couldn't be invested. And when it comes to current adult cartoons like Hazbin Hotel, I've only watched one episode so far, and I'm close to walking through watching the rest of the series, but my binge watch has been slow as of late, so I would try to give it a chance, but at the same time, I'm just not into adult cartoon humor or anything serious when it comes to cartoon material. Like, it may be hypocritical when it comes to kids' cartoons that have adult themes, but at the same time, I'm just mostly invested into Cartoon Network shows a little bit more, especially when in the state that they're in, it's just difficult to move forward to a different place in order to enjoy different material there. Well, I can't be able to have a laugh or take a story-driven story engaging. Question number 2, least favorite movie of all time. This is gonna be tricky. I'm going to assume maybe Son of the Mask, and maybe Cat in the Hat from 2003. Not really much of ideas of which animated film I've watched, considering that when it comes to worst movies, I usually watch top 10 worst movies from other channels. I just need to find a movie that actually ticked me off, while Cat in the Hat and the Son of the Max mostly made me cringe. Number 3, have you ever related to a cartoon character? It's mostly difficult when it comes to trying to relate to a cartoon character, when at times in the future, when you see more of their development, it mostly causes derailment that it's just difficult to relate to them now like you did in the past. Like, you wanted them to succeed and improve, but at the same time, when the relatability is all gone due to them not getting more development, then it's honestly a lot more complicated to actually enjoy those types of characters with relatability. Believe me, I don't usually relate to Lincoln Loud's life when it comes to him living with multiple sisters, which in my life that I never had any sisters growing up, but with some aspects on not being listened to, that's literally the closest relatability that I have involving Lincoln Loud. But when it comes to other characters, it's mostly a mix. Sometimes when they have other problems, it could overshadow the relatability that you won't be able to move past when it comes to other people's criticisms. I'm gonna go take a drink. It's just wild up, by the way. Question number 4. Do you think Aggressive Girls will work as an adult cartoon? Maybe, but at the same time, it would require a lot of sacrifices when it comes to preventing kids from watching the cartoon, which, let's be real, kids can still watch adult cartoons no matter what. We've all been now. And I think that the only way for Aggressive Girls to work is if it was going to be like Has Been Hotel, but considering that Has Been Hotel is literally the first adult cartoon that has seinen, then I'm pretty sure that Aggressive Girls is far too late on being an adult cartoon. And when it comes to it being edgy, that's mostly debatable. Question number 5. Do you ever give independent online animation to watch? Stuff like Glitch, VisiPop, and Lackadaisy, etc.? I did watch The Amazing Digital Circus. I'm planning on doing a reaction of the following project in the next month or two. But the thing is that even if independent online animation deserves attention, it just isn't in the same lengths as what I feel towards Cartoon Network. Like, I would try to give online animation a chance when it comes to how they would succeed, and sometimes less is more, but I really feel like that just me enjoying cartoons when it comes to multiple episodes is literally the only thing I would prefer, and The Amazing Digital Circus is literally the only independent online animation that I'm watching currently. So, though it's still something, just not much. Adam Pines, question number 1. Thoughts of the upcoming new Loud House episodes? I haven't watched the majority of season 7 since I stopped, especially since I need to watch the last episodes of season 6, but they're mostly promising, aside from one episode that I did review, Bake, Borrow, and Steely, and that Lynn's restaurant episode that have been getting negative attention as of late, but I really feel like that the newest episodes, if I'm in the Loud House, are basically like they were, even though that your expectations are just not gonna be what you expect, because the Loud House just isn't going to succeed to expectations when it comes to negativity. Number 2, what's your top best animated show? Steven Universe, I guess. And since I'm doing the marathon in the summer, you'll understand why. Question number 3, what upcoming show that you can't wait to watch? Honestly, I really don't have a show that is upcoming. Like, it could be promising when it comes to the material of that can surprise me, but getting into new cartoons just isn't my thing like I've been doing with Cartoon Network. So honestly, I would probably see a revival of some sort, but at the same time, that's just mostly axing a little too much. Question number 4, what 2024 movie are you excited for? I guess Sonic the Hedgehog 3, but at the same time, Inside Out 2 could be a game changer like the first one was back in 2015, but when it comes to the criticisms towards the information involving the sequel, I really don't like how it's going. I just don't. When it comes to number 5, you think The Ghost in Miami McGee is already canceled? Yep, it's already been canceled. It's been 3 months since the show came to an end, and to tell you the truth, I'm honestly exhausted and frustrated at the fact that another show that could have had more potential has ended too early. Probably even more than the outhouse. I am planning on reviewing the last 2 episodes of The Ghost of Maya McGee at the end of this year to give out my thoughts. But at the same time, it really shows that Disney Channel isn't really giving their own shows a chance, and even if this isn't as bad as The Outhouse, it's just really depressing. Sean S. asks, what is your favorite trope in animation? Mostly fantasy, like when you have characters who are surrounded by different characters that have unique designs, mainly from Steven Universe, along with unique attributes. It would make me impress on the world building, on the imagination of the creator, and making the world a lot more interesting and fun to sit through. Question number 2, do you like pizza? Yes, who doesn't like pizza? I like pepperoni pizza. What do you think of the amazing digital circus? It's an interesting independent animation. Like, I'm surprised that the CGI is really impressive, way more better than the Megamind 2 animation, or the Megamind Wars animation, and especially the Nickelodeon CGI animation. Like, it's really impressive that the CGI is a lot more impressive when it comes to the amount of time and effort that they put in. And again, I'm looking forward to watching the sequel. Number 4, which channels do you think have better shows, Cartoon Network or Disney? Cartoon Network. Even though that Disney may have Ephemia, The Outhouse, and The Ghost of Molly McGee, and Big City Greens and Harley's on it, Cartoon Network, when it comes to after airing Adventure Time, Regular Show, and The Amazing World of Gumball, shows like We Bear Bears, Quake of the Creek, Steven Universe, and some shows that I grow liking to, like OKKO and Victor Vantino. There are so many varieties of Cartoon Network shows when it comes to the 2010s that I really prefer. So I picked Cartoon Network. Question number 5, cats or dogs? Not really a dogs person, nor a cats person, but if I had to choose, cats. The Cartoon Finder. Any cartoons you watch? When it comes to old cartoons, We Bear Bears, Quake of the Creek so far, especially since that I need to find ideas for doing future chapters of the We Bear Bears canon fanfic and the Steven Universe of the Creek crossover story. So those are literally the only ones. And whenever I watch cartoons, it's mostly when I'm not burned out after many years or months. Question number 2, what kind of music do you like to listen to? Heavy metal or hard rock? Because believe me, hard rock, when it's serious with so many great serious instrumentals of rock, I would prefer that the most when it comes to listening to when I watch wrestling highlights of WWE or AEW or other wrestling promotion. It just never gets old. Have you seen The Amazing Digital Circus? Yes, and I've already answered Sean S.'s third question. So basically, his third question and my answer is the same thing towards yours. Question number 4, computer or hand-drawn animation? Hand-drawn animation, because you can do so many things in hand-drawn animation. And when it comes to computer, if you're performing CGI, it's mostly debatable. Like, aside from Jimmy Neutron and The Amazing Digital Circus, doing CGI is way more difficult when it comes to limitations, and the only way to save it is the writing, which really saves Jimmy Neutron in the Amazing Digital Circus by a landslide. I know those are literally the only CGI materials that I've watched so far, but at the same time, it's difficult to get into CGI in comparison to hand-drawn animation. Number 5, what do you like to do? Well, when I'm not doing fanfics or making videos, I usually watch wrestling most of the time, because that's why I usually calm down and let out my aggression and frustration most of the time. Sometimes wrestling may be fake and something that you shouldn't mimic a lot, but at the same time, it's something that you would take out your frustration in order to calm down a bit. Because what else can you actually calm down from? I can't spell that, sorry. Question number 1, do you support LGBT? I made it in 2022 when I did LGBT month, but when it comes to the fanfic that I've kept on hold, Mains of Optimistic Pride, I really have a difficult time supporting LGBT. Like, I don't hate it. Like, I understand that people really wanted to open up on them being into the community, but at the same time, it's mostly difficult to get into those types of subjects, especially after doing LGBT month in 2022, because as far as I'm concerned, I don't know if I'm ever going to get back to Mains of Optimistic Pride, but at the same time, me canceling it is mostly unfair, because unlike the Equestria Girls Christmas fanfic that I ended up canceling it after I ended up canceling, I'm still thinking about doing Mains of Optimistic Pride, but with the current fanfics I'm working on right now, they're mostly my main focus in comparison to the LGBT story. What is your favorite ship in cartoons? When it comes to the Loud House, Lincoln and Gold Jordan. And when it comes to Steven Universe, Steven and Connie, honestly, I don't have a lot of ships, especially when all the most healthier and appropriate ships, but those are literally the 2 ships I can think of. I do have other ships, but they're not really common. They're not really common with the ships that I've just mentioned, so let's leave it at that. Question number 3, have you ever watched Ring of Honor? No, not really, but I've heard of it, and I've watched highlights of it, mainly on YouTube. Do you watch cartoons on Netflix? I used to. Mainly the Netflix originals were Shewa, which I ended up stopping, and the Creature World, or whatever you call it, well, it involves a horse along with the night, and the horse is teleported to a different world. I forgot the name of the title of the show, but I did watch Netflix cartoons, but I just couldn't keep up with it, and judging of how I slowed down on binge watching, it's only a matter of time for me to actually get back into those cartoons in the future when I get the chance. Question number 5, what are your favorite first-person shooter games? Star Wars Battlefront, mainly the first and second one from 2004 and 5, and sometimes Call of Duty, but I used to play that with my other brother, but it wasn't much. That's literally all I can think of. Those are the Star Wars Battlefront games, mainly the old ones, and Call of Duty, mainly Black Ops, were literally the only ones. Snowstorm the Cat say, what was your favorite review? My favorite review currently was Megamind 2, which I actually enjoy it. And when it comes to my favorite reviews, it's mainly the Cooper Castell's Sonic Sega Saturn review, where he reviewed the materials involving Sonic in the Sega Saturn system. Those are really the ones that I enjoyed. I really don't have a favorite review, to be honest. It's mostly on the fact that I could have wish I would find a great review that I would prefer, but at the same time, those are literally the only ones I can think of. Question number 2, have you watched the anime Tony Nikon? No, not really. Have you watched Lego Legends of Chima? No, not really, sorry. Which era of Nickelodeon do you prefer, classic or modern? I would prefer classic because, honestly, aside from modern, which is only the Loud House and Rock, Paper, Scissors, which is a cartoon that really didn't get my interest, despite Nickelodeon advertising it, The classic ones literally had variety, which is a shame that Nickelodeon doesn't have that nowadays. Granted, the classic shows that I mostly watch are Jimmy Neutron, but in all honesty, I would still sit through Jimmy Neutron, aside from the other shows, more than what Nickelodeon is bringing out, because it's just really difficult to look of how Nickelodeon has gone to when it comes to the release of Quiet on the Set. Question number 5. Which episodes do you think is better? In my opinion, the Sonic Boom episode It Takes to Defeat a Hedgehog is better than the Teen Titans Go episode The Return of Shade. I haven't watched the Sonic Boom episode, but if I had to guess without watching the episode, it's obviously better than Teen Titans Go, and to tell you the truth, it's anything that has similarities to the Teen Titans Go episode is obviously better. Dark Claw Gamer, what worst fanfic you have ever read? The Equestria Girls Rainbow Rocks rewrite when it comes to the Rainboom's argument. It was the first fanfic that I have ever read, and it's literally the worst fanfic that I've ever read. CGI or practical effects. When it comes to CGI, it's only required if it's needed, because as far as I'm concerned, when you do practical effects, you need to make everything perfection. Like, CGI is difficult, but with a different method of doing CGI and effects involving it, it's honestly the simplest when it comes to not doing everything 100% perfectly. Which is why practical effects in explosions and whatnot can be a little bit difficult if you're trying to do them the right way. Question number 3. What's your least favorite movie genre? Mostly cheesy material, like I just don't like cheesy characters being a little over the top and zany. There are times that me enjoying the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is difficult to enjoy in comparison to the Charlie and Chocolate Factory with it having over the top cheesiness. Like, when you enjoy cheesiness, it's mainly in your own time, which it's just difficult to enjoy it in the public eye, even if some people may enjoy cheesy material. What do you think of the Marvel Sony verse? Honestly, I don't know if I would prefer it a little bit more in comparison to the Marvel Studios MCU, but if there's one thing we can agree on is that the Spider-Verse thing can be interesting even if I didn't watch the sequel, but I just don't even know what the direction of the Marvel Sonyverse would have been like. Number 5. Worst video game you ever played? I really can't remember the worst video game I ever played, especially since I never touched on a terrible video game, so I really don't have an answer for that. The Red Dylan Ranger Studio only has one question. Sorry to access, but do you by any chance see the video Jax made related to the Loud House Phantom? Yes. And the publicity of it is way too much, and it sums up everything onto why I don't take the video in value when it comes to the opinion of trying to take the moral high ground and just showcasing the bad and just making the fandom worse despite the problems centering around the fandom. Like, I do agree with some of his points, but the majority of it is just too much to the point that being a perfect fandom is ridiculous, and when it comes to the dark side of fandom, when it comes to people being harmed is one thing, but when it comes to the characters and other stuff, I'm just not on board with that, because even if I do enjoy animation, people can make anything out of animation when it comes to the fictional characters. Real life people is mostly out of the question, but when it comes to fictional characters, I'm sorry, but I'm not really on board with people going against it, and just seeing people just going on board with it when it comes to being on the bandwagon is not really a good idea, and not really something that I would prefer to. In fact, even if they do not enjoy it and I can't change their minds, no one is forcing them to. No one is forcing them to go into the dark side of the fandom when they can just ignore it completely. Anyway, G Godzilla 1212 say, which of the Loud Sister friends is your favorite and why? When it comes to Loli, I'm going to assume Carol, which I do admit she deserves more attention, despite the show having no direction when it comes to the characters whatsoever, which is a shame. Lenny's friend, I guess Maddie and Jackie, since that they're mostly the closest that they can make an episode out of, especially since that it could be the Lenny's group of Luna and Sam by chance. And when it comes to Luna, I think maybe say sorry I keep pausing. I know it's annoying, but I'm trying to think. I guess Sully for the most, because he could actually be more of a character, even if he isn't going to be Luna's boyfriend. And I guess when it comes to Lynn, I guess one of her soccer friends who were a major focus in the season 3 episode, since it could have improved Lynn's character a lot more, but judging of how Lynn's character has been developed later on, it just didn't work out. Which minor character from the house do you wish to be we interact and why? I guess Score Jordan, in order to have more of a development in order to improve on her character. And even if they weren't going to go all out with her being with Lincoln as boyfriend and girlfriend, but I would probably say that she is a lot more promising when it comes to how she was developed and how the season 3 episode, well, she has a pool party. Now, I'm fully aware that I missed a question. Don't worry, I didn't miss it. What are the chances of a redemption ideal regarding Chandler McClane? I guess the only redemption is that if, after the events of the season 3 episode, mainly Geos for Feels, Lincoln would have come to his house to see what his life is like, which is similar to Dippo going to Pacifica's mansion from the season 2 episode of Gravity Falls, and seeing the point of view of Chandler in the same ways as Pacifica. Even if two characters are completely different, there could have been an interesting direction. And I honestly feel like that having Chandler being Lincoln's friend would have been a huge change, but it would have been for the better when it comes to how Chandler was executed in the later seasons. Question number 4. Which minor character will you want to return for the Loud House? This is going to be a bit tricky. Even if it's mostly the insignificant characters, I guess maybe Miss DiMartino from the last episodes of season 1, because she could do something other than how she was mostly a character that boys are attached to. But then again, there are multiple minor characters from the Loud House that it's just difficult to pick which one is the most perfect one to return. And if you really want to include the Casagrande, I guess maybe Elisa, which is Carlota's friend that she ended up making. So there could be possibilities. Question number 5. What season of The Loud House is your favorite? Season 3. It has less bad episodes. The bad episodes are nowhere near as bad as the episodes before and after. For me personally, season 3 really feel like redemption into making The Loud House an approved show, but considering the The Loud House is in the state of not improving on itself. It's just really a shame. Believe me, I always rewatch the seasons of 1 through 3 when it comes to the good episodes, and when it comes to season 3, it's obviously the best. The next person, CP018 asks, which is better, Disney Channel or Nickelodeon? Disney Channel. Granted, I would prefer Cartoon Network a little bit more, but since you didn't mention that, I say Disney Channel. Number 2, what is your favorite SpongeBob character? I guess Sandy Cheeks. I just have a difficult time enjoying SpongeBob and Patrick like I used to, especially when it comes to the post-movie era. Every other character on that show is just difficult to enjoy. And what's your favorite SpongeBob episode? It's gonna be tricky, because it's just difficult to enjoy a SpongeBob episode, so... I honestly don't know. I think in the 3rd season as well, Plankton is leading an army, I guess. That's literally the only episode I can think of. This may be another pause, but at the same time, this is unedited. Sorry. What's your favorite Disney Channel show? Amphibia, because I rewatched that show multiple times. I really feel like that even if the Owl House deserves another season, I would still prefer Amphibia because I just prefer 11-minute episodes, and 22-minute episodes are still important when it comes to the type of show the Owl House is, but I still feel like that 11-minute episodes make things a lot more easier. Who's your favorite U.S. president? Barack Obama. Even if I'm not really a huge fan of presidents, if I had to pick one, Barack Obama. First, Drill Spectric answers, what do you think of the main differences between TV shows by Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon? Cartoon Network, while taking adult themes, have creative freedom, and they don't have restrictions. I mean, they do have restrictions on some occasions, but when it comes to creative freedom, no one gets in their way. Nickelodeon is unable to give anyone any creative freedom, to the point that it's a shame to see Disney. It's just a shame to see the Loud House turned out the way it is after season 3. And judging of how Rock Paper Scissors didn't catch my interest, and its Pony got canceled, it's really a shame that TV shows just aren't getting attention when it comes to the situation that Nickelodeon is treating them. If you work at an animated show production, what would you like to do? Writer, animator, etc.? When it comes to being a writer, it would have to be on the episode's direction and trying to focus in on the characters. Like, I did fanfics, and I'm not the best, but if I took my job seriously as a writer, I would try to make the story as good as possible without making a single mistake. Granted, I have a time limit to get all this done, but with my knowledge, I would try to make the best episodes possible by being a writer, and when it comes to an insignificant bad episode, hopefully not as bad as terrible episodes from other cartoons. Question number 3. If Luna and Lincoln had an episode together, what would you like it to be about? Mainly a road trip episode similar to the season 7 episodes, but only focusing on Lincoln and Luna's group, all the while Luna being a main focus, because it really gives you the idea that the road trip aspect would have worked better if Lincoln and Luna were off to a different location, or to see what they can benefit with each other. Because aside from the season 1 episode for Boys About to Walk, it really feels like that the only way that they can communicate better is mostly concerts and trying to find nuance when it comes to them going to concerts. It may be me, but at the same time, that's just my idea of what I think of the whole dynamic between Lincoln and Luna. Question number 4. What is your favorite Amphibia character and why? Marcy. she is really insecure when it comes to the world around her, but at the same time, it's really impressive of how she became a de facto antagonist in season 3 when it comes to her being mind controlled. I really enjoyed her character arc so much to the point that if Amphibia gets a 4th season and we get more of Marcy's character, it'll be a lot more interesting to see how her direction would have taken if Amphibia had more episodes. But 3 episodes is enough, and it's literally the only Disney Channel show that I would see as untouched or uninterfered from Disney executives. Question number 5. What is your favorite Molly McGee character and why? Libby. If only the Ghost of Molly McGee had another season, she would have had more developed, and the most I've seen involving her development was the season 2 episode, where she's thrilled to meet her father, and then as it turns out that her father was selfish for being busy and focusing on what he does. It's just a shame that we didn't get a sequel involving her and her father. It's just really a shame. It sums up a lot that the last 2 episodes that I'm planning to review towards the end of this year can showcase of how much missed opportunities the Ghost of Molly McGee has, just like the Owl House. Drift Loud only has 2 questions. What is your favorite from your favorite shows so far? I did express that in the other questions, but I really feel like when it comes to Quick of the Creek show, I guess maybe Craig for the most part, and OKKO, I guess Enid. And for the Loud House, Jordan, like I said earlier, not really much. Your second question, what is your reaction on joining the Loud House fandom for the first time? It was honestly a different breath of fresh air after joining the fandom fully in late 2021. Like, watching the episodes really got me invested to the point that it made me enjoy the fandom as a whole, but with the negativity going on when it comes to people's criticisms towards the episodes, among others, it's starting to grow out on me. Like, I wish I would have that feeling back then, but it kind of shows that you can't have the same feeling for every time you join the fandom for the first time, which is something that's probably gonna stuck to me for a very long time. The Blue EM2 says, what inspires your creative process? Honestly, depending on what ideas I can do involving fanfics and the video itself, because sometimes I can cancel a video even while making it, while at the same time not liking how it went, for me thinking how badly direction it is, as in the direction I took, to the point that I just had to scrap it in favor of doing another project. Like, the creative progress of doing videos has to rely on my passion towards the cartoon, and when it comes to cartoons that I'm not really in a passion to, it's mainly me just wanting to review the best of what they offer that can get me invested, which happens a lot on this channel. When it comes to Daniel099, what inspired you to start writing fanfics? Obviously, the worst fanfic ever, because it gave me inspiration on doing multiple fanfics in 2017. And as of now, I'm focusing on other cartoons aside from Equestria Girls. So, what inspired on doing fanfics is mainly the ideas that I can combine with and not using the same one over and over again, because I've been doing that a lot with My Little Pony and Equestria Girls in the past. It's just difficult to avoid that and try to do something different. And especially when it comes to Christmas stories, which was a pain to do the Luna Loud and Disney Channel stories that I would have scrapped completely, but I just couldn't be able to skip Christmas. That being said, that's all my questions. This was an hour in, and sorry that this was unedited, but I really wanted to do another Q&A, and I hope you guys look forward to my content that I'm gonna be uploading in the next months up until Summerpalooza 5 Steven Universe Marathon Arrives. Believe me, it's gonna be a long month. It's gonna be a long summer to get back to the regular schedule, but I am gonna try to add in at least a couple of bonus videos. One of which, the Classic debut episode versus the Primo's first episodes, depending on how I feel, because it could happen, but at the same time it couldn't, and I wouldn't be able to do bonus videos when I make up my mind. But who knows? Anyway, that's literally all the questions that I answered. It may be a bit awkward, but at the same time, doing another Q&A like this was bound to happen, especially doing 5 questions from one of you. I hope you guys appreciate my answers, even if not all of them were fully answered. I'll see you guys next time.